So we'll begin with opening prayers and then the Prarthana shlokas of Tattvabodha Vivekachudamani. Hari Om. Om Sahana Bhavatu Sahano Bhunaktu Saha Viryam Karavavahe Tejasvinavadhitamastu ma vidvishavahe. Om Shanti Shanti Shanti. Gurur Brahma Gurur Vishnu Gurur Devo Maheshwaraha Guru Sakshat Param Brahma Tasmai Shri Gurave Namaha. Dayakaram Dayakaram Dantam Dharma Pravartakam Pranamami Dayanandam Madacharya-varam param. Om Gam Ganapataye Namaha. Om Gam Ganapataye Namaha. Om Gam Ganapataye Namaha. Vasudevendra Yogindram Natva Jnanapradam Gurum Mumukshunam Hitarthaya Tattvabodho Bhidiyate Sarva Vedānta Siddhanta Gocharam Tamagocharam Govindam Paramanandam Sadgurum Pranatosmyaham. So we had left off last week with the qualifications, sadhana chatushtaya sampattihi, as they're known in many of the texts. So if you get these qualifications, meaning not just assimilate, if you understand them intellectually, you'll see them in all of the texts that in Vedanta Shastra we study. They will come in some form or another, because a very important part of Vedanta studies, and also to assimilate, not just the meaning, we have to assimilate into our behavior, into our life. So it requires certain practice. So vairagya, we saw, is getting that dispassion after having examined a lot of things to examine in life. It doesn't come easily. It is seeing our life's goals. So I had some questions here, and I think, I will answer these questions after the class, because they're based on what the class is actually today. So the person who was asked, I will answer after. See, vairagya, there's another in Yoga Sutras, Patanjali says, drishta anushravika vishaya vitrishnaya, which means, the one who's totally free from the desire to contact that which is well seen, heard, all the, different sense organs, the one who is totally free from that desire. And that is when true vairagya, dispassion, dawns. So vairagya is something which comes naturally. That means the desire to contact the objects of the senses drops off. You don't see the value in it anymore. You see, we only go after things that we are interested in, right? So if I have interest in something, I will spend time and effort to go after it. When I'm no longer interested in it, it is not bringing me any, any kind of happiness extra, then I drop it. So that is vairagya. We saw that very important follow-up from Viveka. Now the next values that have been given, the sadhana chatushtaya sampatti, are certain practices to integrate the head and the heart. So where vairagya was working on the level of intellect, understanding, examination, inquiry, shama, dhamma, uparama, this list that I had given briefly last week, this is more bringing it to your practice, bringing it to your day-to-day life. So I have to marry that head and heart together to have alignment between the desiring, thinking, wanting me faculty and the intellectual faculty also. So this Viveka Vairagya solved the intellectual problem of proper understanding. Now, how do I solve my habitual problem of constantly reacting in life? So, many people say, intellectually, I understand it, but I still lose my temper. I still have negative feelings sometimes. I still react in situations. So, this is what we call the disjoint between head and heart. This is where the shama dhamma practices become very important. Your intellectual knowledge has to become now your habitual knowledge. Habits, it should go into your habits. So knowledge is there, but we are not able to follow the knowledge. That is the big gap for us. There's a lack of alignment between what I know and what I do in life. And this often leads to mechanical, impulsive behavior on my part. And this is where Shamadama Uparama makes me a deliberate person. Deliberate means I think before I act. I have space before I speak. I always examine before I do any action. And also I don't have this guilt. There's always a feeling of guilt. When do I get guilt? When I resolve to do something, I'm never going to get angry. Suppose you make a resolution like that, which you should not. But you say, I should not do this. I should not get angry at all. Then your wife comes into the room and she knows exactly where to trigger you. But you've just heard a Tattvabodha Vivekacūḍāmaṇiḥ class and you think, I will not lose my temper because I need to cultivate these values. But she pushes your button. She says something, I've cooked this and it's your worst food. You don't like that lunch. She cooked it and she says, I've made this. And immediately the reaction is, I told you I don't like that vegetable. Why did you make it? So this is the gap between what I know and what I do in my life. So shama is a very important value. It is mental mastery. In Tattvabodha, it is called manonigrahaḥ. Nigrahaḥ literally means control, but we never use the word control. Why? So much pressure. When you hear control, it's like, oh my God, I can't do anything with that control. It is not control. It is managing your mind, managing the patterns of your mind. It is alertness in your thinking. And this is mental mastery in order for you to gain some peace of mind, some tranquility of mind. And cultivating shama, again, we have to bring in the two impulses, which are the culprits for disturbing the quietude of our mind. What are these culprits? You should know them by now. Ragas and dveshas. Poor things, they get blamed for everything, but it is true. They are the culprits. Krishna also talks about it. Binding likes, binding dislikes. These are the impulses which become our two enemies in spiritual pursuit, especially. If we're not in spiritual pursuit, we can follow whatever, go after what we like, then run away from what we dislike. All people all over the world do that constantly. They're always running towards what we like, running away from what we dislike. But what acharyas, what our Vedanta texts say constantly is that if you keep doing that in life, you will perpetuate your samsara. You will perpetuate this emotional yo-yo of going up and down according to what happens to you in life. Do we really want to keep going up this emotional yo-yo of life? That is what each individual has to question themselves. So knowledge has to be brought into the emotional me, which then converts to the behavioral me. So It is the thinking me, emotional me should become behavioral me. So śama is reducing the rajas and the tamas. These are qualities of the mind. They color the mind. Rajas is often depicted as a red color. So actually it is a coloring of the mind. Red, rajas, activity, ambition, all of this is rajas. And tamas is depicted as black because ignorance and all of that, we associate colors with the actual gunas also. And the mind, you will see as we go into Tattvabodha a bit more, it is very beautiful to understand when we are born as babies, the mind is actually sattva guna predominant. That's why we love babies. Because the sattva guna of all the elements go to form the antahkarana, which is your thinking faculty. So by birth, you're actually sattvic. By birth, you're actually pure. By birth, that's our birthright. By birth, we're actually tranquil. But the rajas and tamas, when we live in this world, what happens? Nature and nurture. So the way we're brought up and the influences we have from all different sources, we are again programmed into this rajas and tamas sometimes thinking, and it colors our true sattva potential, our true nature of sattva. And what life is, which is really funny, is going back to the sattvic nature. So, whole of life, karma yoga, lifestyle, all of this that is prescribed in the scriptures is to remove the coloring of rajas and tamas, remove the lethargy, the ignorant me, and the ambitious and too much active me, to bring me to a state of quietude where I can sit with myself and be happy. Who doesn't want to do that? Just to sit with yourself, be with yourself without seeking, doing all the time. It is a great boon to be able to do that. So this is what śama does, the practice of śama. Master the unhealthy patterns of thought in your mind. And we saw Vivekacūḍāmaṇiḥ adds an extra in the 22nd verse and the last line, svalakṣye niyatāvasthā manasaḥ śama ucyate. So it is bringing the mind to a state of calmness where you abide in your goal. This idea of śama and dhamma, they come together all through the Bhagavad Gita. You'll also see 18th chapter, Bhagwan talks about it. In also the Bhagavatam, which is a very beautiful text, Srimad Bhagavata Purana, that is also a qualification. The śama dhamma are mentioned there. So how do we do this and what exactly? Let us understand a little deeper what śama means. I have to process my attractions and aversions in life. What am I attracted to? What am I averse to? I have to examine this. Sometimes it's a good, exercise to make a list. What really do I like? What do I dislike in life? Because only when you see it right in front of you can you handle it, right? If you're living mechanically, you don't even see what you have to handle. So you have to first make a list. What am I really, really after in life? Why do I like that so much? And what do I dislike? So in this way, we learn to move from mechanical and impulsive actions in life to deliberate thinking. And what is the logic behind this? The logic is very clear. You can also see it in your own lives. A reactive mind cannot be a calm mind. If your mind is reactive, it can never find mental quietude. And it will always be in a state of stress or anxiety. And we don't like these states. We want to get out of these states. But what we don't understand, and this is the sad state for human beings, is that we perpetuate those states by the way we live our lives. So stress management is another way of understanding śama. Stress management means I have to learn not to internalize everything. It is, as I said in the previous class also, we internalize everything. Anything anybody says, I internalize, get disturbed. I always think I'm being victimized. I am being pointed at. It may be a general question, but some people are so sensitive, they always take everything inside. They take things for themselves. So too much subjectivity will create painful situations for you in life. You have to see that. You have to grow from this reactive view. Reaction comes when there's subjective, a lot of subjectivity, to active view. Take action. So the mind will not become quiet by itself. This is where you have to make efforts to quieten the mind. Don't let the mind become a burden by internalizing whole life. Some people used to some people always say, why me, why me, why me? They have that type of thinking. We say, you as a Vedanta person, you should say, why not me? Things happen. Things, we have to go through certain experiences of life. That is called destiny. For in Sanskrit it's called prarabdha karma. So life is here. We are given this physical body, mind, senses to exhaust a set of experiences in every life. Now, if I keep avoiding certain experiences, I was saying this to somebody in the yoga festival, if I keep running away from unpleasant, unpleasant, unpleasant all the time and running towards pleasant, I am not giving a chance for papa karma, for my demerit account to come down, right? I keep running away. And what I find, even if I run and run away from challenging situations, unhappy situations, sometimes I find it is like jumping from frying pan into fire. There is a saying in English, jumping from the frying pan into fire. It actually becomes worse. I think it is going to get better. It becomes worse. Now, how you may ask me, how does it work? Because your mind fools you thinking, oh, if I remove myself from this place or this person or this situation, the whole life will become better. But when I go to the other place, I find I'm in even more, unhappiness, even more challenges. Why does life do that? Have you ever questioned? Because you have not learned your lessons. See, the experiences in life are given for certain lesson learning. If you don't pass the test, you can't graduate. In any school, you cannot graduate. Here you're in the school of life. These challenging situations are tests for us. Who has given this test? Ishvara. Ishvara's order. My order of karma, dharma has put the test for me in life. I take this challenge as a test for me. Am I going to pass? Am I going to fail? Am I going to run out of the examination room? Because if I run out, I will definitely have to retake the test and it'll be even more difficult. And this is what we do in our lives as well. We don't allow life to happen. We keep wanting to control situations and people and everything in our life because we want it conducive. Again, what does it come back to? Conducive to what I want should happen. Conducive to raga. And I don't want this to happen. Conducive to dvesha. Again, it comes back to my own raga, dvesha. And if I live my word like this, Shastra, scriptures say, you will definitely, life will become a burden for you. The mind will become a burden for you. And here the teachings are trying to help you develop the lightness of mind, the joy of living. And this will only come when we reduce the raga, dvesha, and resistance to life. So if you remember, Bhagavan had said in the Bhagavad Gita, there is a way, because Arjuna, after having heard this, many of you may have that same doubt as Arjuna had. What is that? No, 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 Krishna, it is too difficult. It is like the wind, the mind. I cannot do it. How am I going to control this mind which is like the wind? How will I manage it? Krishna says, no, dear Arjuna, I'm adding the dear. I'm imagining Krishna saying, dear Arjuna, dear man, you do have a very difficult mind. I understand because I created it. He will probably say that as well. You think you have got it. I was the one who created everything. So I've given you this mind. It is given. But you can manage it. There is a trick to managing the mind. And he gives the two things to managing the mind, which is abhyasa, repeated regular effort in anything in life, not just our mind, in anything you want to master. This is the trick. Repeated regular effort. You should not feel, I'm bored of this now. Why should I do this? I'm bored of alert living. I tried it on Monday. I don't want to do it on Tuesday. No, I'm bored of it. No, it's a regular day-to-day thing that one has to do. And with objectivity, vairagya means objectivity. It means repeatedly doing the same thing again and again without hitting yourself for saying, I failed. Why didn't I, I got angry. Then you go to your wife, poor thing, she's made the meal for you. We'll go back to that example. Husband got angry, he reacted. Then after 10 minutes, anger comes down. He goes to the kitchen saying, she's crying because she's very subjective. Generally, I mean, I'm a woman, I can say it, but women do get very subjective. We have to watch that. So then she's crying in the kitchen. He goes in saying, I'm so sorry, honey. I shouldn't have upset you. I shouldn't have hurt you. I will eat whatever you have cooked. You've done it with so much love. So why to go back? Then she will remember, the 2 weeks after they have another fight. Then she'll remember, that Monday you told me like this, you shouted at me. And she'll remind him, we don't want to do all that. Why to go through this up and down in this life, arguing and fighting and then making up? And it is, it is not worth it. There are much better things to do. So create a habit. That's what Bhagavan says. When you repeatedly do something in your life, what happens? You create the habit. So create the habit of following what is good for you and what is good for others. Don't make others victim of your negative thoughts or negative emotions. Anger, you manage it, you learn to manage it. Shastra gives a lot of techniques to develop a healthy mind. You have to be first thing is alert. Be aware to your projections also, because a healthy mind is a non-projective mind. So you don't need to, when the mind says the situation is like this, this is what is happening, this person is thinking this, then we have to question, could it be another way? Most of the time it could be in so many different ways that one situation can be seen. So the first thing is being alert to your projections, and then you take proper actions. You examine things first, take proper actions. So assimilation of this knowledge and abidance in this knowledge becomes, very important when you have a healthy mind. So what are the next question I'll ask? We're discussing śama here. Very important to understand this value. What are the issues that make me mechanical and impulsive? So I have to ask these questions. So I know that what are the situations? First situation is very easy to see when my likes and dislikes, they overpower me. Overpower me meaning the dharmic me, the ethical me. So when my likes and dislikes forget what dharma is, then they become so strong that there is an inner split created in me. Let me explain that inner split. So I know that what I'm doing is wrong. I know that it is not a correct action. But what do? I do it anyway because so much pressure of desire in me. I need that thing. I want that thing. I have to have that. Then I create an inner split in me. Duryodhana had this problem. And if you remember in Mahabharata, some of you may know, he says, Janami dharmam cha nacha me pravrittihi. Janami nacha me pravrittihi. Janami adharmam cha nacha me nivrittihi. Kenapi devena hridistitena yatani yoktosmi tatha karomi. I'll send this to the group, okay? What does he say there in Mahabharata? And you can feel sorry for him. He says, I know what dharma is. I know what ethical actions are. Yet I cannot get myself to follow. I cannot get myself to do that. And he says, opposite way, I know what adharma is. I know what is wrong, but I cannot desist from doing adharma. Something, he says, oh Rishikesha, he's talking to Krishna. Oh Rishikesha, oh Lord of my senses, some powerful being is sitting in my heart and driving me to all action in my life. That's very interesting, right? If there's something in me, he acknowledges his helplessness. He doesn't understand the problem. He thinks the problem is with, Duryodhana always thought the problem is outside, it's with the world, with others, as most human beings think, but it is actually with our own self. There is something in us that is driving us despite our better mind. We say that despite my better mind, something is driving me to do this. And what is that? Bhagavan answers in the Gita, it is intense desire. Because your desire overpowers ethical norms, you pursue the desire and don't do what is correct thing to be done. And who do you think you are harming doing that? You may get what you want, you may avoid what you want, but who is getting harmed in the process? It is yourself. You create inner conflict in yourself by living this type of life, and the śama can never come to a mind that is conflicted within. So this is the first thing that leads us to mechanical and impulsive behavior, is because our desire overpowers dharma. Number one. Second thing that leads us to this behavior, mechanical and impulsive behavior, is unconscious. This is a very big thing that our scriptures discuss, our Acharya discusses. There are many things stored in our unconscious mind. And śama as a value can only come when I've let go of my past. See, many times we allow our past to overtake our present, and we don't live actually in the present. So, more understanding of my past, I have to see, however painful the experiences were, whatever anybody has done to me, whatever I have been through, there is an order to it. I have to see that again and again. There is an order to whatever I've experienced, and I had to go through the experience. Otherwise, it would not have been given to me. I acknowledge also the way I am today, whatever way I'm thinking, is because past, because of nature, my nurture, my experiences of what I have gone through in my life. I am who I am today. I may not like myself, that's a different thing, but I cannot be different. If my experiences and my past have made me who I am today, I cannot change that, right? I cannot change the past. So I am who I am today because of a past. So this is something I have to assimilate before I develop śama, because that will constantly disturb me. My memory also, I have to, reduce the emotional attachment to certain memories I have. When we look back, suddenly the emotion of that experience comes to us. Now I have to learn also to reduce that emotional impact of the past so I can live present, not helplessly and not reactively in the present. So this is again understanding everything was in the order of Ishvara. Ishvara does the best for you. You may not trust it, but whatever is happening, it happens for the best. Whatever is unfolding for you, it is for the best. That is a really understanding. In future, you will see, look back and see, my God, it was amazing whatever has happened. So an unconscious mind is a heavy mind, and this is something that prevents us from having śama as an value in our life. So if I act out of my unconscious, which means all the things that are stored, negative emotions, so emotions such as anger, hatred, greed, jealousy. So if I allow negativity to decide my life, then I lose the ability to use my free will. My free will goes for a toss. There is no such thing as free will, no deliberation. I allow the emotion to become me. Then I become reactive. So free will has to come in for deliberate thought, and impulsive mechanical behavior from the unconscious, it is a danger. Why? Because, as I've said before, you can ruin so many things in life by not thinking before you act, thinking before you speak. So this is another reason why we act mechanically and impulsively. If you understand it, understanding is the solving 80% of the problem. The rest of it is practicing and being alert in your life. Then understand the reason behind reactions, then the resolution happens. So now we go to a step further. If someone irritates me, if someone makes me angry, this is an example I always use. Anger is the best example. Why does somebody irritate me? Why does somebody make me angry? So you may say, because they're like this, because like that. If usually we point, because because they're like this, they made me angry. Because they're like that, they make me angry. But if you look, if you really see, the truth is that person doesn't fit what you want. That person doesn't behave the way you want. So then you think this person is like this, like that. That person doesn't fulfill your demanding of that person, your own demands. And you want them to fit into what you want. I want this person to be a certain way. Why do we want to change others? Because we want them to suit us. We want to change others, and this is a very bitter fact. We want, and we spend life trying to change others because we want them to suit our happiness, to suit us. Because they don't match what I want them to be, then I get angry. I get frustrated because other people cannot be controlled by me. We hate that. We don't like that lack of control. I cannot control the other one. So I get angry, frustrated. Very, very difficult in life. So this is something one has to see that will disturb your peace. The more you try to change others, the more you spend time telling them they should do this, do that, the more you will be disturbed. So that is why Puja Swamiji always used to say, the extent you give freedom to the others to be who they are, what they are, to that extent you are free. And you have to realize that other person does not want to be controlled. Other person does not want to be managed. So anger is only your frustrated desire. Again, watch and see for yourself. Then you will see, once you know this is what is happening, why I'm getting angry, this is because you have it inside you. So this is very important in developing shama. Shama is a very, again, a resolution of the mind, resolution of negative patterns of the mind. And this all comes down to, I'm not happy as I am. So all comes down to that. If I'm happy with myself as I am, then I will not have this disturbance from external. So I have to learn to find that peace and quiet with myself. Then whatever is happening outside, I am accepting of it. I'm not demanding for any change. So śamaḥ means that I don't allow myself to get disturbed by others' behaviors because I stop my controlling. Number one thing, change oneself, be the change you want to see in the world. This is a very good value to imbibe. Change oneself. So all our disturbances, as I said, can be brought back to two things, the raga and dvesha. And here Krishna says in the Bhagavad Gita, tayor navasham agachet tauhyasya paripantino. So every object that you see in the world, every situation you have, there will be a potential to invoke likes and dislikes in you. Anything that you see will become an object of love or aversion. This is where I have to nip it in the bud. We saw in last class, don't keep dwelling on the objects because it will keep, again, keep your mind in a certain state, and that mind may lead to that eightfold fall of the mind. So don't let the mind keep dwelling on all of these. You bring in abhyasa, practice, constant alert practice, and vairagya. Transmute your desires, transmute into the one desire that will set you free. You cannot eradicate your desires, right? But see the value of the one desire, which is moksha, what you're really after. Transmute all the other little things here and there, seeing the limitation of it, and you will definitely gain that śamaḥ of mind. So what do I have to, again, what are the obstacles that come in between me and gaining that type of mind I need? So here I bring in again some Sanskrit words from our texts, but there are three major obstacles that come in our pursuit of gaining such a peaceful mind, a quiet mind. First one is, they're called diseases of the mind. Antahkarana, diseases that afflict the antahkarana, the inner instrument. First, we have heard of mala. Mala means impurities of mind. Impurities of mind can be many, depending on the person. But again, impurity is always based on raga and dvesha. So you can have kama, krodha, lobha, greed is an impurity, jealousy is an impurity. Anything that takes you away from your true nature is called impurity of the mind. So mala, how is mala removed? How can mala be removed? Mala can be removed by satsanga, by having good company around you. Keep yourself in good company. Don't create more mala by being in negative company, bad company. When you know somebody is negative, always thinking negatively, always talking negatively, don't need to be rude, but just say, keep your space. Be with positive people, be with people who are given to good actions, people who are given to helping others. All of this good company can come in many forms. Good company doesn't mean religious company, okay? So another people mistake, going to a certain religious institution, there I'll find good company. No, it's nothing to do. There are nothing to do with religion. There are so many good people, ethical people in this world, and they have no religious background, but they're positive and they're also very good ethical people. That is also good company, uplifting company. So satsanga is very important on the spiritual pursuit. Keep a good satsanga group of people around you who are also interested in self improvement. That's also helpful. If people like-minded people are interested in self-improvement, that will give you a boost. It will give you a support system which is needed on the spiritual pursuit. Then you have mantra and japa. This always helps. The chanting practices that we have, that will help reduce the mala. When thoughts of any negative thoughts, greed or anything comes, you can use a mantra or a japa. It will always calm the mind and reduce that. You can also see for yourself the futility of hoarding. When you feel like I want one more, I want one more, the intellect should kick in and say, what am I going to do? My garage, if you remember the famous garage in UK, it is going to get even fuller with this extra object. So if I have things like this, I have to question. Then the last thing is prayer. So the japa, prayer is fantastic for everything. Prayer is your direct connection, direct line to Lord. It is a one-to-one connection. Nothing can come in between. And through prayer and invoking grace, you can remove a lot of the mala. So mala is an impurity considered that will disturb your practice of developing these qualities. So it is a painful practice. You remove this mala through grace, and also through karma yoga lifestyle is also a way of neutralizing the raga dvesha, offering everything to the Lord, whatever you do, receiving the fruits, the results of your action as prasada. It is not easy because we want, we're going against the grain, we're going against what is in our mind, but it will give you peace ultimately. So bring in the practice to remove mala. And then vikshepa is the second obstacle I have in my mind. Vikshepa means the internal disturbances I have, distractions of my mind, turbulence of thoughts in the mind. Vikshepa is called projections. We just saw that. Śama talks about vikshepa. There is projections of the mind, constant wavering. I'm not able to focus it on anything. How do I manage waywardness of my mind? So, see, the beauty of these texts, Vedanta texts, they don't just give you the problem. First, we identify the problem, but there's always a solution that is given. And if you take up that solution, definitely it works. What is the solution for Vikshepa Shakti? When there's too much Vikshepa distraction, the solution is pranayama, breathing practices, because breath is very much connected to the mind. So taking up certain breathing practices will really help you calm your mind. You can see how breath is connected to the mind. When you get angry, what happens? Your breathing rate increases, right? When you're calm and you're still, your breathing is quiet. So breathing, Ramana Maharishi says in a very beautiful text, Upadeshasaram, he says it's like pulling one branch with two kind of forks in the branch. So when you pull one of the branches, the other fork always comes down. So if you take breathing, the mind will follow down. So breathing and mind are very much connected. Then again, upasana, certain meditative practices, taking a form, if you're able to connect to a form, meditating a little bit in the morning, spending the time focusing on a form. Meditation for us, you see, you have to know the definition of meditation. People think meditation means I have to sit and the mind will be quiet. I have to sit and there won't be any thoughts. Now, I don't know anybody's mind. I definitely cannot do meditation like that. That is not the idea of meditation at all. And this is why people say, people come and tell the Swamis and Swaminis and spiritual teachers, oh, I can't meditate. I can't meditate even for 5 minutes. Because you don't understand what meditation is. Krishna makes it very clear. In the Shastra also makes it very clear. Saguna Vishaya Manasa Vyaparaha. Saguna Vishaya. So Saguna Vishaya means you take one form. You take Saguna Ishvara. Saguna Ishvara or Vishaya, because you can take a light also. If you cannot focus on a form, you take something to focus on. And the very act of meditation is what? Mind's nature is restlessness. Okay. This is a definition of mind we will see in the Tattvabodha. Also, Vivekacūḍāmaṇiḥ, Adi Shankaracharya will say the mind's nature is to be all over the place. That is the nature of the mind. If your mind is like that, you are very normal. So be happy. You are all, everybody is normal. The act of meditation is to bring the mind back to the focus, to the object of focus. So meditation is defined by bringing the mind back again and again when it wanders. So you're focusing on something, 5 minutes you can focus, then it goes off into some other place. So the holiday next year, where am I going to book the holiday next year? Bring it back. You use so meditation actually is a deliberate, free will involved action. The very act of bringing back the mind every time it wanders is called meditation. So now I ask you, if now you know what meditation is defined as in our scriptures, can you not do that? I don't believe anybody who says I cannot do it. At least for 2-3 minutes a day, you can practice bringing the mind back. And when you do this practice and you increase the time frame of the practice, one day, and this is 100% guarantee, you will find the mind abides by itself, because it's like training a dog, right? When you train an animal, you say, sit, 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 and this running around, say, no, sit, and sleep, lie down. You tell the dog like this. I was thinking of I don't know, she comes into my mind. People in England will know there was a lady called Barbara Woodhouse, and she used to train these. I remember, walkies, come on, walkies. We used to watch these, and she used to say, sit, and the dog used to sit. I mean, she took some time to train, but very, very interesting, how she made the animals, trained the animals. And this is exactly what we are doing with the mind. It is a pet. Take it as a pet, my pet, my project, pet project. There you are, another word. You can have your pet project is your mind. And you take it and you train it. When it wanders, bring it back. When it wanders, bring it back. Do it if you can't do it for 3 minutes, do it for 2 minutes. If you can't do it for 2 minutes, start with 1 minute. And then you increase day by day. You set more and more limits. And if you can do it for 45 minutes without moving, then you have developed the siddhi of meditation. 45 minutes, you have got meditation siddhi, you got it. So it is possible. No one cannot do it. Everybody can practice it. And the distractions of the mind, the distractive mind can definitely be calmed down. And more than that, what you will see in your day-to-day life is even more, the result of it, you will see manifest in your day-to-day interactions in life. You develop that space. There is an inner calm in you that is called śamaḥ, when vikshepa is reduced. And the last obstacle to our mind, which we all know, we have seen, is the avarana. Avarana is the cloud, that stops us from seeing who we really are, our true nature. And this is the biggest obstacle. If I could see that, then I will be free, but I cannot see because avarana covers my mind, covers my intellect. And how is avarana removed? So you can see beautifully, mala is, removing mala is in your day-to-day life, in your employment, with your family. You spend time removing mala in these environments. Then vikshepa, you spend time with yourself in meditative practices, in upasana, pranayama, all of this. And look at the last one, avarana, you spend in shastra study. You have a holistic lifestyle now. Everything is covered. So your external life is covered. You use your external life to help you grow spiritually. You use your family and everyone to help you grow spiritually. And finally, you use the knowledge, also the Shastra knowledge, to remove the ignorance, scraping off slowly, slowly. You will find as you study, ignorance gets scraped off. As you do the other practices, the knowledge gets assimilated. So assimilation of knowledge for your life depends on how much also practice you do. Knowledge by itself, you all have it after one class. You don't need anything else. But the assimilation of knowledge, owning up the knowledge, making it bless your day-to-day life comes through practicing what the Shastra says, all the other practices. So tremendous effort is required by the individual, for which a free will has been given. You have to choose. And how do you choose? You choose because you see the value of doing it. If you don't see the value to doing it, we won't choose to do it. If something else has priority, we will choose that. If this spiritual goal has priority for you, if you see the value of it, then you will definitely follow the practices. So my life becomes a movement from mechanical, from impulsive, to deliberate, and finally, a realized person, a self-enlightened person, will be totally spontaneous. Spontaneous in their thought, spontaneous in their actions. A jnani is seen as spontaneity. Whatever action a jnani does is spontaneous. He doesn't have to think because he's already done it. He's done all the practices to get to jnanam. So śamaḥ, very beautiful practice. You have to understand that you cannot control situations in life. Assimilate this lack of control and don't get affected by the situations and other people's behavior. Another way of seeing it is that nothing or no one is to blame for my lot in life. This is a very important fact to assimilate. Everything each individual goes through is because a result of karma. Anyone who is there in your life is also karma for you. Whoever is put with you in life and you go through certain experiences together, they are karma expenditure for you. They are helping you expend your karma. So it is actually very beautiful when you see like that. All my experiences, people who are in my life, are nothing but karma unfolding for me. So in fact, I should thank everybody because they're helping me get rid of my punya papa account. They're helping me reduce my karma. If I don't go through experiences, I can never exhaust karma. Tattvabodha will say, how do we exhaust our karmic account? How do we lessen the karmic balance? Only by going through experiences. And we need people and situations and objects to experience. So no one is responsible for my lot in life. They are just instrumental for me to exhaust my karma. And you are just instrumental for them to exhaust their karma. It's amazing when you see like that. If you understand this fact, you can never blame anybody for your lot. They are put there for a certain reason. So this is an important thing to remember in śama. Another important thing to remember while you practice the śama, trying to absorb this, is don't judge yourself. Don't judge others also, but don't judge yourself. Because, as I said, it is considered an impurity in the Shastra, self-judgment. These practices are meant to be taken up without having too much self-judgment. You have to see certain things. Yes, I do have certain dirt. I have some mala I have to remove. But you be very objective about it. It is like seeing in a pet, no? Oh, this dog is like this. Yes, but I have to get it to get it to behave differently. So this is exactly how you take your mind as well. And you don't suppress it also. We say sweep the dirt under the rug. We don't do that because then it could blow up any time. You have to very, very honestly look at your own mind and see where it needs improvement. Because again, it is for your own sake, for your own spiritual growth, that all of these values have been said. So don't judge yourself, don't judge others. It is important that you learn to accept yourself on the relative level. Because if you cannot accept yourself on the relative level, you cannot accept yourself on the absolute level. So everything begins first with relative self-acceptance. Then only I can discover absolute self-acceptance. So with this, I think we will stop here. There are some other, just a little bit, but I think we'll go on to Dhamma next week. I don't want to start it this week, but these two go together and then we'll link it together next week. So there is a question here. I think somebody has asked. Can you see the question? What is it? I'm just asking somebody to read it for me.
Yeah. Question for Swamini.
Yeah.
So experiences in life are exhausting, both punya and papa? Question mark.
Correct. Experiences in life are exhausting, both punya and papa, because we all come with a set of karma, right? Karma doesn't come only in pleasant experiences. We all as human beings, we know that there's pleasant and unpleasant. And some people have more unpleasant than pleasant. Some people have more pleasant than unpleasant. But that is also your karma. So experiences, when you go through an experience in life, you're reducing your karmic balance. So your prarabdha comes down more and more. So you've got that, say you come with the full account when you're born. Full account meaning for this birth. And when you go through an experience, if it's an unpleasant experience, your papa comes down. If it's a pleasant experience, your punya comes down. So whole life, you're exhausting this punya and papa. And finally, when there's zero balance, bye-bye, tata, leave this body, go off to another one. So zero balance means you drop this body and you take another body. And another set of karmas come to you then. So you have a certain set of experience you have to exhaust in this life. Then the question comes, where is free will? Because people will ask, then what about free will? Free will is how you face those experiences. How do you face those experiences in life? How do you take those experiences you have to go through? So if you understand, you can use your free will wisely and you can act on those, whatever is unfolding for you in your life to exhaust your karma, you can act on it in an intelligent and prudent way. So can you help how one assimilates a bit more? Step 5. Yeah. So assimilation of this value will come through certain practices, karma yoga. So, people who are joining my Bhagavad Gita classes will definitely find this complementary. You know what karma yoga is by now, which is offering your actions to the order. We don't have to call it God, Ish. We don't have to give it any name. It's the intelligent order that pervades this universe. It is a law and order of this universe. It is a law of karma, law of dharma. So when I offer everything unto that order, and I get the results, am I responsible for the results of action in life? I am not responsible. It is because of Ishvara, order. So that comes and I accept it as prasada. So that is called Karma Yoga lifestyle. I accept it as a gift. Although I may not think it is, very, very pleasant gift, I still accept it as a gift from the altar. That is called prasada, prasada buddhi. We can never translate prasada directly into English. It has so many different meanings, but I accept. And when I do that, you can see your mind. When you accept life like that, what happens? Your likes and dislikes slowly get diluted. Then you don't clamor for results in life. Your likes and dislikes also get diluted. Your mind becomes more and more peaceful. So peace of mind is concomitant with reduction of raga, dvesha. So more your binding likes and dislikes are lessened, the more peace you will have in mind. The problem is we are trained to think opposite. The more I fulfill my raga dvesha, I will get more peace. In fact, that's more disturbance. That's the problem. Spiritual text tells totally opposite to what society has trained, conditioned the thinking. We are conditioned to thinking the more I do, I will have more peace and happiness. Here we're saying the less you do, you'll have more happiness. The less you do, and less you do meaning less you do clamoring for results. So it doesn't mean you stop working. The less you do clamoring for results, because you could be the most active person but be peaceful inside, because you just put 100% of your effort into the work, the role you have to play, and whatever happens you take as prasada. Whatever happens, that is a practice. And people say, how long do I have to practice like that? Lifetime. It is not just 3 months, it is lifetime. Some people it comes very easily, some people it takes time, but it is lifetime. It is not easy. And along with that, for assimilation, certain exercises, pranayama, breathing practices, meditation, as I've explained meditation to you now, all of you can take up at least 2-3 minutes a day in the morning. If you can do more, better. Focus. If you can't focus on a deity, if you're not comfortable with any form, focus on a light. Take a candle light or take a jyoti, take a lamp. Focus on the flame of the lamp. When the mind wanders, bring it back. Mind wanders, bring it back. And you will find you will gain this space, inner space that you need for your day-to-day. That will reduce vikshepa, meditation. And of course, avarana, you're reducing by attending Sunday Tattvabodha Vivekachudamani class. And whatever other classes you attend, avarana, that not knowing is reduced by study of Vedānta Shastra. So I think, the question that was asked, I think got answered in this session. And if anybody has any more doubts, you can always ask in the next session. I will answer. So, Hari Om, we will conclude for today. Om Sarve Bhavantu Sukhinaha, Sarve Santu Niramayaha, Sarve Bhadrani Pashyantu, Ma Kaschid Dukkha Bhag Bhavet, Asato Ma Satgamaya, Tamaso Ma Jyotirgamaya, Mrityor Ma Amritam Gamaya. Om Purnamadah Purnamidam Purnat Purnamudachyate Purnasya Purnamadaya Purnameva Vashishyate. Om Shanti Shanti Shanti. Harihi Om. Shri Gurubhyo Namaha. Harihi Om. So these practices, generally you'll find people don't, spend too much time on this sadhana chatushtaya. I'm spending time because I see very important to gain the qualification along with the study of Vedanta. So lot of people just skip to Vedanta, which is also very nice to hear. You're limitless, your truth and everything. But however many years we study, it's not sinking in. And we have to examine, why is it not sinking in? Even after 20 years of hearing Tattvamasi, it is not sinking in. Why? Because these qualifications which come up, they have to be implemented in your day-to-day life. It takes practice, it takes time, and you will find even if you take one of the practices and you do it for a length of time, this knowledge will just become yours. It works hand in hand. So it's a holistic lifestyle, and it blesses. Rishis have found the blessing and they've handed over the blessing to us. And we will also discover that blessing if we follow what has been said. Hari Om. See you all next week. Hari Om. Oh, some question was there.